We'll keep our focus on that story. Let's also tell you about some other news that's now coming in on Republic Reporter. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has just spoken to the Foreign Minister of Iran. In fact, sources are telling us that S. Jaishankar has told the Foreign Minister of Iran about India's concerns about the levels of tension between Iran and USA, and India has also agreed to remain in touch with Iran. This is the biggest international story that's dominating the headlines this evening. In fact, we're also getting news that Iran too has responded to Donald Trump's comment. Now, Donald Trump, despite the calls for de-escalation, Donald Trump earlier today went out and made a public statement saying that, in fact, he put it out on Twitter saying that we will hit very fast and very hard. So it's a fast-paced developing story that's now coming in. What we can tell our viewers is that Iran too has responded to Donald Trump. We'll get our team of reporters to tell you more on that. But this is, and those are the tweets on your screens. Those are the comments made by Donald Trump. In fact, he went on to go on to, and that's one of the tweets that he put out about 14 hours ago. One of his first comments after U.S. assets were targeted in Baghdad, in Mosul, and in Balad. He went on to say that Iran itself will be hit very fast and very hard. The USA wants no more threats. Huge escalation between Iran and the United States of America. Iran too staring back after an escalation that began after its military general was killed in an airstrike. Now, we can also tell our viewers that Iran has hit back, and Iran too, at this point of time, is staring back at USA. But what is the India perspective? Many say that US wants India to intervene. Like Abhishek is joining me on the phone. Like many believe, Abhishek, that US, I beg your pardon, wants India to intervene, especially after that comment and that comment by Donald Trump talking about Delhi. The plotting of an attack by the Iranian commander in Delhi was just a giveaway of that very expectation, possibly. What more are you tracking now that India, the Foreign Affairs Minister, in fact, has spoken to the Foreign Minister in Iran?
Welcome back, Sagarika. You see, America or Donald Trump, by saying that Delhi was targeted, clearly wanted to co-opt India into American war. But that's obviously not the Indian intention. In fact, the first statement that came from the Ministry of External Affairs clearly stated that the killing was that of a senior Iranian leader. We did not say General Soleimani was a terrorist, which is actually an American definition. Apart from that, this conversation that the External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has had with his Iranian counterpart clearly shows that India is engaging with the region. It's very important and vital, both for its economic interests and its strategic interest, that we continue to engage with them. We don't want any escalation of escalation from here on. Donald Trump, when he said that 52 sites are marked, clearly showed the escalation metrics. And if EAM has spoken to his counterpart, obviously the intention is things should calm down.
Absolutely, Abhishek. But when there is this sort of an escalation, especially between US and Iran, and when one side expects the other to pick sides, especially like we've been telling our viewers of the United States' expectations from India, when Donald Trump, in fact, went out to say that Delhi was also one of the targets of the slain Iranian commander. What is the line that India would possibly take when there is an escalation of this sort between the two countries?
Well, it does not serve our purpose if escalation happens, Sagarika, because of Chawahar and then onwards to Afghanistan, we have our strategic interests. And because if war happens and the situation goes out of hand, there would be oil price hike, and it's going to have a lot of economic consequences. Apart from that, obviously, we have traditional historic relationship with Iran that goes back to millennia, actually.
Yes.
And in that context, it does not help if, Iran is suffering in any manner. Obviously, we have to do a balancing act between our very good, durable partnership with America as democracies. But apart from that, obviously, we can't afford the situation also going out of hand. So I believe that must have been the line so far as that conversation that took place between External Affairs Minister and his counterparts concerned.
Absolutely. So the latest update coming in at 6:40 p.m. this Sunday is that Foreign Minister, External Affairs Minister, I beg your pardon, S. Jaishankar has spoken to the Foreign Minister of Iran. India remains deeply concerned. Now, both sides, be it United States States of America and Iran have spoken on the role of India in subtle ways, if that's how we can put it to our viewers. One, like we've been telling our viewers, when Donald Trump spoke about the slain Iranian commander, even plotting an attack on Delhi, a hint of that sort that he dropped. And then Iran too responded saying that India and Iran have historical ties, deep-rooted ties, and nothing can challenge that. US has gone ahead and has threatened Iran. It has gone on to say that it is looking at 52 targets. Donald Trump himself saying that we will hit very hard and very fast. There's also some responses coming in from the US Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo. Here's what he said.
Well, there's always multiple reasons for timing of events. In this case, we had watched Soleimani and his IRGC forces, as well as their proxies, the Shia militias in Iraq, engage in ever-escalating activities that threatened American lives. We've seen it for months. We saw them take ships from the Straits of Hormuz. We saw them engage in activities that led to the downing of a United States UAV. And then, in the end of December, we saw them take what would have been maybe the 10th or 15th strike, this time killing an American contractor. The escalation was taking place. We needed to stop that. This was all happening as a result of the orchestration of the terrorist Soleimani. So we had a need. Second, we were watching. And Soleimani was planning future attacks that might have resulted in the death of dozens or hundreds of American citizens, as well as many Iraqis, many Muslims, people of Shia faith or Sunni faith. We would not allow that to happen. And so we did everything we could to disrupt it. So we continue to do that work, but last night we took the strike that took down the man that was orchestrating and leading the charge to conduct these imminent attacks.